For row 47, we're going to have 3 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 5 brown boxes. Before I begin, I'm going to go ahead and fasten off the white that's on the right side. We finished that part of the X, so we no longer need that. And I can untangle it from my yarn. And now we're on the home stretch. And that's the end of row 47. We had 3 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 5 brown boxes. Before we begin row 48, the brown box to the left of the one we just finished, you can fasten off the yarn for that. Row 48 is going to have 4 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 3 brown boxes. And there's the end of row 48. We had 4 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 3 brown boxes. For row 49, we're going to have 2 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 4 brown boxes. I worked this row and frogged it, so I fastened off my white yarn here. That was my mistake. You could carry it up right here. I'm going to reattach a strand, so I'm going to slip stitch as normal first. And there's the end of row 49. We had 2 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 4 brown boxes. For row 50, we're going to have 3 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. And that's the end of row 50. We had 3 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. For row 51, we're going to have 2 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. That's the end of row 51. We had 2 brown boxes, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. Row 52 is going to be 1 brown box, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. There's the end of row 52. We had 1 brown box, 3 white boxes, and 2 brown boxes. Row 53 will be 1 brown box, 2 white boxes, and 1 brown box. And there's the end of row 53. We had 1 brown box, 3 white boxes, and 1 brown box. For row 54, we're going to have 1 brown box, 2 white boxes, and 1 brown box. There's the end of row 54. We had 1 brown box, 2 white boxes, and 1 brown box. Row 55 is going to be 1 brown box, 1 white box, and 1 brown box. That's the end of row 55. We had 1 brown box, 1 white box, and 1 brown box. And now we can fasten off the first brown and the white. And we'll be working 2 more rows of decreases here. The next row will give us 2 boxes, and the one after that will give us 1. And that's our last box. I'm going to chain 1 and then pull up a loop so I don't lose it. And ta-da! Here is our X from the top all the way down to the O. I'm going to show you how to work the border. I will show you how to add the dowel, and I will show you how to weave in our ends. Here's our chain 1. I'm going to turn so the right side of the work is facing me. That's the side without the ends. Then I'm going to pull these two boxes apart. This space right here where my finger is, that's where we're going to want to insert our hook and work a single crochet. So let's insert it there, and then we'll yarn over, pull through. There are 2 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through both loops. Then we'll chain 2. Then we'll single crochet into the top corner, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through. There are 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Chain 2, single crochet back into that same exact stitch, and by adding that chain 2 and single crochet in there, we've increased, so our corner is now going to lay flat. Now I'm going to turn my fabric. Now I'm working down the side. The entire border is going to be worked exactly the same way. In each corner we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then in the middle portion we're going to have chain 2, single crochet into the space in between the next 2 boxes, chain 2, single crochet into the space in between the next 2 boxes, chain 2, single crochet. And we're going to repeat this all the way down until we come to the corner. And now we've worked the last single crochet here in between the spaces. We're going to chain 2, and then we'll work our corner stitch, single crochet into that top corner, chain 2, single crochet into that same stitch, and then we'll rotate our fabric to work along the bottom. And you're going to continue in the same manner all the way around. In each corner you're going to have single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. In the middle we're going to do chain 2, single crochet into the space in between boxes. I will see you when we get back around to the beginning. Because we're about to slip stitch, I'm only going to chain 1 here. Then I'll slip stitch into the first single crochet. Insert your hook into the stitch, picking up both of the top loops. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. That slip stitch accounts for the same amount of space as another chain there. For row 2 of the border, we're going to single crochet all the way around. We're going to start with a chain 1, single crochet into this single crochet stitch. In the chain 2 space, 2 single crochets. Then we'll single crochet into the next stitch. Here at this corner, this is into the chain space that's there. We'll insert our hook, work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, all into the same chain space. Then we'll turn our fabric. Into the next single crochet, we're going to single crochet. Into the next chain 2 space, work 2 single crochets. Single crochet into the next single crochet, 2 single crochets into the chain 2 space. And you're going to continue that way all the way down to the next corner. Now I've reached the next corner. I'm going to single crochet into the single crochet. Into the chain space, I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Then I'll turn my fabric, and I'll continue working the same exact pattern across the bottom, across the side, and on the top until I reach the very first stitch where I started. Alright, I just worked into the last single crochet before the first one, and next is a chain 1 space. We're still going to work 2 single crochets into that space. Then we're going to slip stitch to the first single crochet, insert our hook underneath both loops, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the stitch on our hook. Now we're going to fasten off. Then I'll pull up on that loop to break it. I'm going to insert my hook from the wrong side into that stitch I just finished, yarn over and pull that thread to the back so it's on the same side as all the other ends. We're going to work an eyelet row next for the dowel to go into. Here on the right corner, I'm going to insert my hook into the chain space, the chain 1 space that we made there, insert my hook. Gonna make a loop with my yarn, put that loop on my hook and pull it through. I'm going to drop the tail end to the back, pick up the working yarn, and I'm going to hold the tension on the back of the fabric so my thread doesn't go anywhere because it's not secured yet. We're going to start with a chain 3. This chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1. We'll skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. Then we'll chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. And you're going to continue working like this until you have 12 double crochets, including this beginning chain. Here I have 12 double crochets. We have an uneven number of stitches along the top, so here we're going to skip 2 stitches. We're still chaining 1, but we're going to skip 2 stitches here and double crochet into the next stitch. Then we'll continue in the same pattern, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, all the way across until you work your last double crochet in the chain 1 space here on the left side. There's my last double crochet. We have 25 double crochets in total here. I'm going to go ahead and make my chain for hanging on the wall. I'm going to turn my work. Then I'm going to make a chain 60. Alright, there's 60. I'm going to lay this out. I don't want the chain to be twisted. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the second chain of the beginning chain 3. Here's the first chain. Here's the second one. Right into the center and complete a slip stitch. And I'm going to pull up a big loop there so I don't lose it, and I'm going to flip it to the right side. I want to test it out on my wall before I fasten it off to make sure it's the correct hanging distance. I think it's the same as the one I made before, so it should be fine. Here's my dowel. The stitch here on the right is going to be behind my dowel, so I'll insert from the right side into that first chain space. Bring it out the next chain space. Insert into the next chain space, bring it out the next chain space, and I'm going to continue working all the way across. When we get to the end, the last double crochet will also be behind the dowel, and then I'll just center it and stretch it out. Alright, there we are. I'm going to go hang this on my wall, make sure it is the correct chain for hanging, and then if it is, I'll fasten it off and I'll be back to show you how to weave your ends in. Alright, my wall hanging is great on my wall, so I'm going to go ahead and fasten off this. I'm going to bring it down to normal tension and trim my yarn. Then I'll pull it up to break it. And I'm going to insert my hook into that same stitch that it's slip stitched to, and you can tell because that's where the chain is pulling. Insert it there, grab the yarn and pull it through. Now it's on the wrong side with everything else, and I'm going to weave my ends in. I'm only going to show you how to do a couple, and then I'll weave the rest of them in off camera. When I weave my ends in, I try my very best to do it in the same color box. But if you run into any chance where you have to weave in a different color into a different box, you can. Just make sure before you pull it all the way through that you check from the right side to see if you can see that color showing through. Because when we weave in our ends, we're really only working through the top layer, which is on the back side here. I'm threading my tapestry needle, and I'm going to, here's my box that I'm going to weave into. I don't want to go straight across because the double crochet stitches are horizontal. So I'm going to pick up a stitch that's nearby, and each time I pick up a stitch, every time I insert my needle, I don't pick up the whole entire stitch. I break the stitch in half with my needle. This is going to help to catch my yarn. I do this every time I insert the needle and every time I pull the needle out. Now I'm going to weave horizontally under a few stitches here. And when I come out, I will break that stitch. And as you can see, I just weaved horizontally through one of the double crochets. And then I'll pull it. And you want to pull tight so that there's no slack, but not too tight that it bunches your fabric up. And you can manipulate it with your fingers if you need more slack. Then I'm going to come into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, and I'm going to go back upward through the same stitches I just worked. And then when I come out, I just make sure to break the stitch in half as well. Sometimes it's not so easy. This one will keep sliding around. But I don't want to pick up a whole stitch. I think it catches my yarn so much better if I break it in half. Then I'll hold my fabric and pull it through. 3 is my magic number. If you feel comfortable with your yarn that it's going to stay put now, you can fasten off. I always like to do 3 passes, so I'll go into a nearby stitch, work back down through the same stitches I just worked, and that will be my 3rd pass. Then I just give it a little tug and fasten off. Alright, we'll do one of these cream ones. I'm going to do it the same exact way. I'm going to work into the double crochets. In this case, the way this yarn is pulling is more downward. So I'm going to take this one on the bottom, I'll work it upward into those stitches just like I just did the round yarn. And this one I threaded, I'm going to work downward. So this box that I'm going to work into, the double crochets are vertical. So I'll be working vertically. I'm going to insert into a nearby stitch, work all the way down the stitch, And you can see even though I'm doing it vertically, I've kind of worked at an angle through that stitch. Then I'll go into a nearby stitch, work back through the stitches I just worked. That's 2 passes into a nearby stitch, work back down through the stitches I just worked. Give it a tug, and then I can fasten off. This one up here where we fastened off our chain, I'll show you that one. I'll thread it into my needle. I'm going to take my needle, insert it into the back bump of the stitch below where my tail is coming out of, from the right side to the left side. Then I'll go into a stitch below that from the left side to the right side, picking up just the back bump. Then I'll go through another stitch using the back bump from the right side to the left side, and this time I'm actually going to go down a couple stitches right here on the border. And then I can insert into a nearby stitch, work upwards through those stitches that I just crossed over. That's 2 passes, work into a nearby stitch, work downwards into the stitches I just worked through. Don't want my stitch to be all bunched up, so I'm using my fingers to pull it and then fasten off. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and weave in all the rest of my ends off camera now. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I know it was a long one, but I wanted to make it right here alongside you. You're going to find the written pattern for this at iloveknots.com, which I will link in the description below. Please smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.